Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Commanding General, Major General Darrell Hood, and the Post Command Sergeant Major, Command Sergeant Major William Schoaf, welcome to the United States Army Training Center and Fort Jackson, South Carolina, for the retirement review of one soldier and the graduation of companies Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, and Echo from the 1st Battalion, 34th Infantry Regiment, 165th Infantry Brigade. Please stand for the invocation given by Chaplain Bartley Wilt.
I invite you to pray in your faith tradition as I pray in mine. Let's pray. Almighty God, thank you for all the blessings that you continually give to us each and every day. As we celebrate the soldiers graduating, we reflect on the past 10 weeks and their commitment, dedication, and sacrifice for this great country. As we look always forward, bless them with wisdom, knowledge, and safe travels to their AIT locations. And continue to bless them to be disciplined, trained, fit, lethal teams ready to win our future fights. I ask these things in the most holy and precious name, the name that's above every name, the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. The purpose of today's ceremony is to recognize the commitment of the men and women you see here who have chosen to serve our nation as soldiers. This review is the last official formation in the career of one lifelong soldier and the first official formation in the careers of our newest soldiers. Not everyone successfully completes this difficult period of training, and far few are able to accept the challenges and difficulties that come with the life of a career soldier. But these in formation today represent disciplined, motivated, physically fit soldiers who exemplify the Army's 7 core values: loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. These soldiers are imbued with the warrior ethos and display the tenets of putting the mission first, never accepting defeat, never quitting, and never leaving behind a fallen comrade. This is an important day, and these soldiers can take great pride in their accomplishments. To the parents, families, and friends of these soldiers, Fort Jackson extends a very warm and sincere welcome. We are justifiably proud of our retirees' lifelong dedication to our nation and are truly honored that the next generation standing on this field have chosen to join our ranks. Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the left of the formation. The units marching today from left to right are the 282nd Army Band under the command of Chief Warrant Officer Jared Delaney, graduating soldiers from companies Alpha, Bravo, the Battalion Color Guard, and graduating soldiers from companies Charlie, Delta, and Echo. Identified by their distinctive headgear are the drill sergeants. These dedicated non-commissioned officers form the backbone of the Army's training center system and are selected based on professional competence, leadership ability, and years of service. These men and women undergo intensive training to earn the right to wear their distinctive hat and insignia. With the drill sergeant hat goes the important responsibility of molding civilian men and women into soldiers. The commander of troops for today's ceremony is Major Tyler Newberg, who serves as the battalion executive officer. He and the battalion staff are positioned on the field.
Down, attention!
The reviewing officer for today's graduation is the commander of the 1st Battalion, 34th Infantry Regiment, Lieutenant Colonel Timothy Burton. On his left is Command Sergeant Major Michael Haynes, the battalion's senior non-commissioned officer, master trainer, and principal advisor to the commander.
Sound, present, arms! Post forward.
The commander of troops will now bring forward the colors and persons to be honored.
Colors and persons to be honored. Center, march.
Competence and commitment are the hallmarks of professionalism. The soldiers and drill sergeants coming forward will be recognized for their excellence in training, duty, and performance. They serve as examples to all.
Sir, the colors and persons to be honored are present. Stand.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the playing of our national anthem. It is appropriate for soldiers in uniform and all armed forces veterans to salute the American flag. We ask our civilian guests to please remove your headgear and place your right hand over your heart as our national anthem is played.
Down, present, arms. Detachment, present, arms.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Order, arms. Down, order, arms. Red, press.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are about to witness the retirement of a lifelong soldier. All soldiers begin their journey by graduating from basic combat training. Over the years, there have been changes to how the Army conducts basic training. However, many things remain the same. It was during basic training that the soldier was first introduced to the Army values. It is where they learned the importance of teamwork and that the Army truly is a family. That sense of team and Army family is still embedded in what is done here at Fort Jackson today. Over 20 years ago, this soldier took the same oath to defend this nation that your loved ones on the field today have taken. We salute this great soldier as they pass the torch of freedom along to the newest generation of soldiers, your loved ones standing on the field today. A certificate of appreciation from the President of the United States will be presented to our retiree today. It reads, I extend to you my personal thanks and the sincere appreciation of our grateful nation for your contribution of honorable service to our country. You have helped maintain the security of this nation during critical times in its history with a devotion to duty and a spirit of sacrifice in keeping with the proud traditions of military service. I trust that in the coming years you will maintain an active interest in the armed forces and the purpose for which you have served. Those who follow in your footsteps will draw inspiration from your commitment, dedication, and sacrifices made to ensure the protection of our American freedoms. My best wishes to you for happiness and success in the future. A certificate of retirement from the Chief of Staff, United States Army, is also presented to those retiring today. At this time, Colonel Thigpen and Command Sergeant Major Haynes will recognize our retiree for their service to the United States Army. Sergeant First Class Michelle Whistler, having served honorably for 35 years of service, is placed on the retirement list effective 25 July 2025. The nation salutes. Sergeant First Class Michelle Whistler, United States Army, retired. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in another round of applause for our retiree and their family. Although newly retired, they will always be part of our Army family.
What time? No. Group. Halt. Left. Face.
The soldiers most responsible for the training of these soldiers are the drill sergeants, who are carefully selected by the Department of the Army. The drill sergeant campaign hat and badge have been a stoic symbol of professionalism and pride since 1962. At this time, the drill sergeant of the Cycle for Echo Company, 1st Battalion, 34th Infantry Regiment, Drill Sergeant Tristan Hannon, will recite the Drill Sergeant Creed. We ask that all drill sergeants, past and present, please stand for the reciting of the Drill Sergeant Creed.
I am a drill sergeant. I will assist each individual in their efforts to become a highly motivated, well-disciplined, physically and mentally fit soldier capable of defeating any enemy on today's modern battlefield. I will instill pride in all I train, pride in self, in the Army, and in country. I will insist that each soldier meets and maintains the Army standards of military bearing and courtesy, consistent with the highest traditions of the U.S. Army. I will lead by example, never requiring a soldier to attempt any task I would not do myself. But first, last, and always, I am an American soldier, sworn to defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. I am a drill sergeant. This will defend.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant Colonel Burton and Command Sergeant Major Haynes will now present the soldier leaders of the cycle and soldiers of the cycle with awards. The outstanding drill sergeant of the cycle for 134 is Drill Sergeant Tristan Hannon from Fall River, Massachusetts. The soldier leader of the cycle for Alpha Company is Private First Class Carly Young from Bath, New York. The soldier of the cycle for Alpha Company is Private Rafael Lopez from San Benito, Texas. The soldier leader of the cycle for Bravo Company is Specialist Ida Flathammer from Milton, Wisconsin. The soldier of the cycle for Bravo Company is Specialist Hudson Caldwell from Milledgeville, Georgia. The soldier leader of the cycle for Charlie Company is Private Niles Casimir from Winchester, Virginia. The soldier of the cycle for Charlie Company is Private Jacob Green from Cato, Oklahoma. The soldier leader of the cycle for Delta Company is Specialist Sarah Adams from Kings Mountain, North Carolina. The soldier of the cycle for Delta Company is Specialist Luke Dueñez from Lubbock, Texas. The soldier leader of the cycle for Echo Company is Specialist Poria Mostafizi from Tucson, Arizona. The soldier of the cycle for Echo Company is Private First Class Jillian Ward from Centennial, Colorado. Ladies and gentlemen, the commander of the 1st Battalion, 34th Infantry Regiment, Lieutenant Colonel Timothy Burton.
Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for the wind. It's cutting across the mic, but good morning. You all look wonderful. I appreciate you taking the time to be here. On behalf of Major General Hood and Command Sergeant Major Schoaf, it is my privilege to welcome you to Foot Basic Combat Training graduation for the 1st Battalion, 34th Infantry Regiment. We are honored to have so many friends and family here today, both in person and also joining us virtually, supporting their soldiers on the field before you. A special welcome to Lieutenant General retired Bill Caldwell IV and his wife, Mrs. Caldwell, here to celebrate their youngest son's graduation before us. Also Colonel Thegped representing the ATC training area, training post, thank you. And Colonel Betty and Command Sergeant Major Cox, the command team of the 165th Infantry Brigade. Your presence underscores the significance of this moment today and this milestone in this career. Before we proceed, I would like to take a moment to honor 3 profound, important groups. 1, our veterans. 2, our retirees and our Gold Star families. If you are able, please stand so that we may recognize you for your sacrifice and service. Thank you for the legacy and the determination and the sacrifice that you represent. I'd also like to thank the 282nd Army Band for your professionalism and adding a little bit more inspiration to our ceremony today. Thank you. But today, we are here to celebrate the transformation of the 1,149 soldiers into the United States Army that are standing on the field before you. They represent nearly every U.S. state and territory and 24 foreign countries. Just yesterday, At 7:30 in the morning, 0730 for the military folk, 66 of these soldiers became U.S. citizens, pledging allegiance to the nation that they now defend. These soldiers range in age of 17 to 43. They are fathers, they are mothers, they are sons, daughters, brothers, and sisters, and now they are all soldiers. Their paths to the Army have varied as America itself at our own beginning. Just as our founding fathers forged a new nation, these soldiers have forged their strength through focusing on their similarities rather than their differences. A few highlights of these soldiers and their backgrounds. From Alpha Company, one trainee was a karate instructor and a champion for the state of New York in the Karate Open Championship. Another trainee marched in the 250th Army Parade in Washington, D.C., and did her swearing in front of the president. Another trainee is the grandson of the king of the Ubos tribe out of Nigeria. Another trainee was a professional boxer for 15 years before coming here. And finally, another trainee had the opportunity to perform in the 2024 Macy's Day Thanksgiving Day Parade as a dancer. In Bravo Company, one of our soldiers and also one of our soldiers of the cycle is a fifth-generation military service to his family. His father, Lieutenant General retired Caldwell, commanded the 82nd Airborne. His grandfather served in this very battalion as we waged war in the Korean Peninsula and earned not only 2 Silver Stars, also a Bronze Star with Valor, and received multiple Purple Hearts. Another trainee graduated from Harvard, speaks four languages. I just spoke to her this morning, correcting that, and has a degree in economics from Harvard. Also in Bravo Company, another bachelor's and a master's degree in psychology. Charlie Company, as a former member of that formation, served in the military in the Jamaican Special Forces. Another was a physician's assistant for Sudan. And 5 other trainees have master's degrees. In Delta Company, we have a former Ohio State champion wrestler. 5 hold master's degrees as well. Delta Company also has 25 separate languages spoken in their formation. Finally, in Echo Company, 27 soldiers from that company are heading to officer candidate school immediately following here. Another is transitioning to the warrant officer course to be an aviator for the Army. We even have one who was a contractor and worked, unfortunately, for the Navy SEALs. I won't hold that against him. Another trainee has a PhD, is pursuing a PhD in materials science and engineering, while another owned and operated a cross-fitness gym as a personal fitness trainer and coach. And finally, we have another trainee who is the son of both a mother and father of prior service officers, whose father was also a Green Beret, who because of that position received an appointment to West Point. So these stories are just a glimpse of the talent and the capabilities of those standing before you. Since arriving in Fort Jackson, these soldiers have endured rigorous and deliberate training, all physically, mentally, and emotionally. Their journey culminated in the Forge just a week and a half ago, a demanding field training exercise that tested the dimensions of their resistance. They executed simulated combat operations. They crossed the night infiltration course under live machine gun fire. Some of them didn't think it actually was, but yes, it is live machine gun fire. They threw live hand grenades and they marched over 30 miles with a 25 to 35 pound rucksack on their back, starting in South Carolina's summer heat that ended out with our false fake autumn. Through adversity, they forged trust and unity in each other, but they have all earned the title of soldier. Let's give them and their drill sergeants a round of applause. Now, I know just like yesterday, I am all that stands between you and your soldiers as they move on in their careers, so I'll make the last part short. So what's next? From here, these soldiers will move on to over 120 different opportunities for military occupational specialties. Each specialty is vital to the Army's ability to deploy, engage, and destroy the enemies of the United States of America in close combat. They are now protectors of the freedom you hold dear. They are willing to stand up and defend those who cannot defend themselves. And finally, congratulations to the soldiers in the field. Your accomplishments are extraordinary. My last parting advice to you all: stay humble, remain teachable, learn from both your failures and your successes. You will have many of both. As you continue in your service, take time to discover your why, the deeper purpose that will keep you steady through the hardships and guide you when you are called to lead. Let it be anchored in the values that we swear to uphold: loyalty to those who fight beside you, duty to the mission and our nation, respect for every soldier and every life you touch, selfless service that places the welfare of others before your own, honor in all of your actions, integrity when no one is watching, and finally, personal courage to face fear, danger, and the unknown. Root your purpose in the things that are worth defending: your faith, your convictions, the freedom entrusted to us, the peace we strive to preserve, the families and our loved ones we leave behind. One day, America's Army will be called upon again. And when that day arrives, let your why and your values hold fast. And remember the wisdom of G.K. Chesterton, the British philosopher, who said, "The true soldier fights not because he hates what is in front of him, but because he loves what is behind him." To our friends and family, thank you for your unwavering support for your soldiers. The strength of our Army began with you. May God bless you in your efforts, bless your families, and if we remain worthy, may God continue to bless our Army and the United States of America. Thank you.
Attention! Colors! Reverse! Reverse. March. March!
Today's soldier is, above all, a warrior, adaptive, confident, and competent. As a soldier, you are totally committed to the warrior ethos, grounded in Army values, and determined to destroy the enemies of the United States of America and her allies. The United States Army Soldier's Creed embodies this commitment. To the soldiers on the field, the uniform you wear at this moment is more than an outward display of your vocational choice. Your uniform is a symbol of a nation, and an unspoken assurance to all who see you that you are a willing and able defender of the freedoms fought so arduously for by all who have gone before and those who will bravely come after. You have become what you set out to be, a soldier in the United States Army. The Soldier's Creed is your declaration of your unshakable commitment to the ideals this nation was founded upon and the ideals it will continue to guarantee. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand as our battalion soldier of the cycle, Private First Class Jillian Ward, presents a certification of appreciation to the retiree and leads the soldier standing before you through the reciting of the Soldier's Creed. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Pass and review.
Pass in review.
In consideration of those around you, we ask that you please remain seated and in the bleachers until all soldiers have passed the reviewing stand and the conclusion of the ceremony is announced. As you are approached by the American flag, it is appropriate to rise and remain standing until it has passed to your right. Once the ceremony has concluded, family members of awardees may meet their soldier under the canopy located to the left of the bleachers. All other family members and friends, please meet your soldier on the field once instructed by the narrator. The 34th Infantry Regiment was assembled on July 15, 1916, in El Paso, Texas. Its initial mission included guard duty on the Mexican border and the training of National Guard units. During World War I, the 34th arrived in France on August 27, 1918. In October of 1918, the regiment received the Battle Honors Lorraine for their actions in support of the 7th Infantry Division. After World War I, the 34th became the first motorized infantry regiment in the United States Army. The 34th Infantry Regiment was en route to the Philippines on December 7, 1941, and then the regiment was diverted to establish the Hawaiian Island defenses. In June of 1943, the regiment participated in the Hollandia airdrome seizure as well as the attack on Bayak Island. The regiment was once again chosen to spearhead the liberation of the Philippines during the Battle of Leyte. The unit participated in a series of bloody battles for 75 continuous days. Most notable was their use of hand-to-hand combat at Quilay Ridge while behind enemy lines for 3 weeks. The regiment's nickname, Leyte Dragons, and the motto of the infantry, Follow Me, denotes their valor during this time period. In January of 1945, the 34th Infantry Regiment made its second beachhead assault in the Philippines on the island of Luzon. Fox Company suffered more than 90 casualties in a single day. Days of bitter fighting with legendary acts of individual heroism were required to accomplish this mission. The 34th was later chosen to assault the island of Corregidor and seize Malinta Hill. They destroyed the enemy and held the hill despite the significant cost of lives during the battle. The 34th led the Mindanao campaign and was then reassigned to Japan at the conclusion of World War II. The 34th was called again during the Korean War. From July 7th to 8th of 1950, the 34th encountered a double envelopment while fighting at Chonan. Once again, their use of hand-to-hand combat helped the unit emerge as the victor. The 34th fought a second major delaying action at Tejon on July 19th to 20th, 1950, while United Nations forces evacuated the city. The 34th Infantry Regiment was cited with the U.S. and Korean Presidential Unit citations. Passing the reviewing stand is the commander of troops, Major Tyler Newberg, and the battalion staff. The 282nd Army Band is commanded by Chief Warrant Officer Jared Delaney and led by Drum Major Staff Sergeant Brooke Hendricks. Alpha Company is commanded by Captain Joshua Collins. First Platoon of Alpha Company is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Nance and trained by Drill Sergeant Height. 2nd Platoon of Alpha Company is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Sultan and trained by Drill Sergeant Ellis. Third Platoon of Alpha Company is led by Senior Drill Sergeant DeLeon and trained by Drill Sergeant Fain. Fourth Platoon of Alpha Company is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Whedon and trained by Drill Sergeant Kelly Westry. In the rear of Alpha Company's formation is the First Sergeant, First Sergeant Kirk Goff. Ladies and gentlemen, as you're approached by the American flag, it is appropriate to rise and remain standing until it has passed to your right. Bravo Company is commanded by Captain Dennis Scannell. First Platoon of Bravo Company is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Baker and trained by Drill Sergeant Height. Second Platoon of Bravo Company is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Matthews and trained by Drill Sergeant Spencer. Third Platoon of Bravo Company is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Alcocer and trained by Drill Sergeant Taylor. Fourth Platoon of Bravo Company is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Bluyett and trained by Drill Sergeant Roth. In the rear of Bravo Company's formation is the First Sergeant, First Sergeant Carlos Castillo. Charlie Company is commanded by Captain Jarrell Blake. First Platoon of Charlie Company is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Geiger and trained by Drill Sergeant Robinson. Second Platoon of Charlie Company is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Todd and trained by Drill Sergeant Valentine. Third Platoon of Charlie Company is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Mercado and trained by Drill Sergeant Brott. Fourth Platoon of Charlie Company is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Marchese and trained by Drill Sergeant Carmichael. In the rear of Charlie Company's formation is the First Sergeant, First Sergeant Owen Martz. Delta Company is commanded by Captain Cody Marvin. 1st Platoon of Delta Company is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Katera and trained by Drill Sergeant Malepiai. 2nd Platoon of Delta Company is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Navas and trained by Drill Sergeant Lamb. Third Platoon of Delta Company is led by Senior Drill Sergeant McCann and trained by Drill Sergeant Martinez. Fourth Platoon of Delta Company is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Pierce and trained by Drill Sergeant Brown. In the rear of Delta's formation is the First Sergeant, First Sergeant Justin McKay. Echo Company is commanded by Captain Lawrence Mariano. 1st Platoon of Echo Company is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Alamo and trained by Drill Sergeant Edwards. Second Platoon of Echo Company is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Rincon and trained by Drill Sergeant Smith. Third Platoon of Echo Company is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Gonzalez and trained by Drill Sergeant Gwen. Fourth Platoon of Echo Company is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Hernandez and trained by Drill Sergeant Jordan. In the rear of Echo Company's formation is the First Sergeant, First Sergeant Christopher Emanuel. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the Army song. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's ceremony. Please enjoy the rest of your day and have a safe journey home. Victory starts here.